Hi, welcome you all for the finally class in Java programming. The finally block follows a try block or a catch block in the Java program. In this syntax, the finally class is following the catch class. The finally block of code always executes irrespective of occurring of an exception. That means either exception may be raised by the try block or may not raised by the try block, but the finally class will be executed always. Likewise, a try block can have single catch state catch class or multi catch classes, but try block can have only one finally block in the Java program. You see, in this syntax, we are having multiple catch statements, but we are having only single finally block. And also, what is the need of finally block in Java programming? The finally block can be used to execute the code without consideration of exception occurring or not occurring. So what kind of code can have inside the finally block? So when you are executing the program, you may use to open the file. We may use some statements, and the database connectivity might be opened, and network connectivity also might be used during the execution of the program. So at the end of the program, you have to close the opened file, right, and opened database connectivity and opened network connectivity, etc. So to close this kind of resources and allotting that used resources for the further future purpose, then we have to close that connections, and also we have to close the files which are opened during the program execution. So for that, we have to write some code. So that code can be written inside the finally a block. So that is the main purpose of the finally class in Java. So here we are using the code. For example, a main method is having the integer variable with length is here 2. Okay, so zeroth index and first index. The name of the array is here x. Then try block is defined here, just which is assigning the accessing the value at the fifth index of the array. But here the fifth index is not available, right? This is having the length is 2, but we are trying to access the fifth index of the array, so it is not available. So what will be happen? Exception is rising here. So that exception is array index related exception. So that is to be handled by the catch class, which is defining the class array index out of bounds exception. That exception will be stored in the variable small e. Then just I am displaying that stored information here to the user. After handling the exception here, the finally class is having some number of statements, so those statements will be executed here. 15 is assigned to the index number 0, then that is just displaying to the user by accessing the 0th index. Then final statement is executed. Here for example, I have given this code, but in the programming, this finally block can have the code to close the file. Okay, close the file, and the net database connection with connectivity, if you are opened, then you can close the database connectivity. So those kind of methods you can write here. That means that methods code can be written here to close those connections, to free up that resources like file resource and database connectivity resource and network connection resources. So output of this program is here, the exception which is raised, that is displaying to the user here. That's what given, exception thrown, or index out of bounds exception index 5, which you are trying to access, that is out of bounds because the length of the array is here 2, right? Then this statement is executing first element value 15, then finally statement is executed, right? So here we are observing that finally class is executed after the exception is occurring. So here you see we are having the statement that uh, irrespective of occurrence of the exception. Here the exception is occurred in this example. So now we are going to see the example without occurring the exception. Same example, x is having the array size with two indices 0 1. The length of the array is here 2. Then try block is having the code by assigning the value 15 to the 0th index. Then just I am displaying that value by accessing the first index 0. So here exception not raised. Okay, exception not raised. So now the exception handling class catch class will not execute. Okay, because this is not having any role due to not occurring the exception. So then finally class is there here, which is assigning the value to the first index 305. Then just we are displaying the first index value x of 1. So as of now this statement is executing, then this statement is displaying the value, third statement which is displaying the value. So accessing the first index 0, this one access the element at the first index, this statement displaying, and the final one is finally statement is executed. Here we are observing that even though exception is not raised, the finally class statement is executing. So that's what we are observing here. And third one is here the try block is having multi-catch classes. Okay, so here also we are going to use the finally class. Just we are creating the array with the name x, 0th index and first index with size is 2, I mean length of the array is 2. Then assigning the value at the 0th index as a 15. Then here just we are accessing the element at 0th index, so we are getting this statement. Then I am performing some arithmetic operation, division operation, right? Some value 25 divided by 0. So here you see this is generating the exception. The first line is not generating the exception, right? Here not raising the exception, but the second statement is raising the exception. The exception which is related here is arithmetic exception, because we are performing the arithmetic operation. But the first catch class which is not belonging to the arithmetic exception, so here the which is not handling this exception, right? Then in the second catch class we are doing with the defining of arithmetic exception, so which is handling this arithmetic exception, which is raised in the try block, then which is stored in the variable e, then just we are displaying that value. That's what here exception thrown java dot language dot arithmetic exception, the value which is stored in the variable e is division by 0, right? Then here you see we are having the finally class, just assigning the value 305 to the index number 1. Then we are accessing the element at first index, just that is 305. Then last statement finally is executed, that is given here. Here what we are observing, the try statement is having multi-catch classes. In the multi-catch classes we are having different kind of catch exception handling classes. After that only finally class we are executing. So that's the thing we are having in the in this example, right? Thanks for watching.